Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 5. We're here over with the new island trader and it's time for another tutorial Tuesday. This week we're going to be talking about knots and how you get lots and lots of them so that you can go out and buy as many new islands as you want. So there's a couple of different ways of getting lots and lots of knots. So obviously you can get them solely out of chests, you can break them out of decor items, or you can attack enemies and kill enemies to drop knots. So the last one is actually the one we're going to focus on a little bit more today because there are a couple of ways of setting up some very small farms that will allow you to get high numbers of knots in a very short space of time. So the very first one we're going to go do in the jungle. So we're going to head over to a sunken temple. What you're going to need is you're going to need your normal adventuring gear that you use to get through any normal world. You also want to have a couple of spare swords, some blocks, at least a stack, probably a little bit less, and then a sunken temple keystone. Or you can just keep throwing in medium jungle keystones until you get to the sunken temple. So with all of this stuff, it is time to head through the portal and go into the sunken temple. Once you get to the sunken temple, go all the way through to the portal room and kill off anybody that you find along the way, and then we'll get started on the farm. Once you've made it to the end like this, the first thing you want to do is bar the doorway. So just put a quick bar across the door like this, just to stop anything coming in from up the top there. Now, the reason why we're here is because this is the one place I can absolutely confirm that you're going to get a Rawbone Summoner to spawn. Now, to get the Rawbone Summoner, you want to place the ring like we've done with farms in the past, just like this. So you go 2 up and you go 1, 2, 3 along, and then 1 more out, so you should end up with a square which is 3 by 3 in the center. And here in this chamber, these gold marks on the floor are actually a good indicator of how far out you need to come. You need to come out until your blocks go over top of these marks, just like this. Now, once you've got this little cage set up, this here is where your Rawbone Summoner is going to spawn into. And we need to get this to happen is the next trick. So you need to leave this area. Personally, I find the easiest way is to just dig my way all the way back up to the surface and come back down again. By the time that you've done that, there should be a new Rawbone Summoner standing right in the middle here. So let's do that. So now the Summoner is back. Now the next trick that we want to do here is we actually want to pen the Summoner in a little bit more. So as he moves around, pen some blocks in around him, and eventually get him into a 2 by 1 space. Now, right now he's quite kind of in this corner, which means that he's not going to let me put some more blocks down. But there you go. So now he's in this little 2 by 1 space. Now, the reason why we've done all of this and we've gone to all this effort is because this guy can now spawn in skeletons on top of us. Now we just need to get into the right spot and he will spawn in some skeletons. Now if he doesn't, you can hit him with pretty much anything and he should get aggro at you again and start spawning stuff in. Just give it a second. While you're waiting for that to happen, you can also build up this pad that is now above him. Because by building this pad up, you'll actually give him more area to spawn the skeletons on, which is exactly what we want, because we want him spawning as many skeletons as we can possibly get him to spawn. And there you go. Now he's spawned in a few more skeletons. As you can see, there's only 1 over here on this corner, and that was perfect. That goes to show that this platform is not yet wide enough. So I actually need to make this platform a little bit wider, so I'm going to do some quick changes to this, and I'll show you what I've done. So once you've increased the size of the platform, just like this, you then just build up a 2-high wall around the outside. Now this is for a couple of reasons. It stops any skeletons that get spawned in from escaping, and it also means that you can jump up to relative safety and then kill all of them from a higher platform. And as you move around, you can hit them from anywhere on your platform. So this is a really good little technique. It's kind of slow and it's a lot of work to get set up and then use, But I actually think it's quite worth it, especially if you're after getting lots and lots and lots. A summoner will summon skeletons in while you're working on your platform and on your wall, so you just need to make sure that you're keeping an eye out or an ear out for his summoning sound, which is that one. And when he does make that, you just need to jump up on the wall and attack anything that spawns in. Now this is also a really good way of getting bones too, because all of these guys have a chance of dropping bones. So if you need bones for this week's community quest, this is another way of getting those. So here we go, he's just spawned another couple of skeletons. Raw bone drudges, I should say, I keep calling them skeletons, they aren't. And so as you can see, they have nowhere to go. So I can just run around here, run around the edge if I don't fall off. It's another probably good point. You should build up some stairs out the back here, and also probably place down a fire out the back here as well, so that you don't get cut off from your own farm while you're doing this if you accidentally do die or something along those lines. So there you go. As you can see, now the skeletons have nowhere to go, and I can just run around and kill them all and collect up all of the coins that they drop. And then this guy will keep spawning in more and more and more. So this, of course, can be made easier to use by extending the platform around the outside, so that you don't fall off it as often as I've been doing. But this is the basic premise, and a little bit of time and effort, and then a little bit of time spent farming, you'll end up with quite a few knots. Now, this one is, I think, the best way of doing this. It's the least kind of exploitative of the game, and it means that you actually have to stand here and you have to work for it, because kind of wandering around and kind of taunting this summoner is the way you get this guy to keep summoning more skeletons on top of you. I do have another way, which was actually shown to me on the forums. Weeble made a post about spitting plants infinitely respawning. So we're actually going to go and have a bit of a look at this. This one I do feel is a little bit more exploitative, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. So we're going to go home and I'll show you all of the equipment that you need to get this next farm set up. So fortunately or unfortunately, it appears that this farm has actually been fixed between the time that I tested it and the time that I attempted to start recording it, which is a little bit of a pain. But that is okay. It was a very, very exploitative bug anyway, and it basically relied on the fact that the spitting plants would multiply without end, and they wouldn't die when the sun came up. And as you can see, the sun is coming up now, and there are absolutely no spitting plants around me. So the developers have obviously fixed this bug, which is good because it was a very exploitative bug, and you could essentially sit there with a little bit of protection up and just keep killing things over and over and over again, meaning that you could get thousands and thousands and thousands of knots very, very easily. So with that farm being fixed, that is all we have time for this week. So next week we'll be looking at a few more little bits and pieces inside SkySaga. I am going to put up a post on the forums with all of my suggested topics for SkySaga tutorials over Alpha 5. Please head over there, the link will be in the description, and tell me which one you think we should be doing next week. And I will see you next time.